Hello and welcome. The Nigerian maritime industry continues to evolve with stakeholders working towards solutions that promote efficiency, reduce bottlenecks, and enhance trade facilitation. In a sector that directly impacts the nation's economy, regulatory agencies are stepping up efforts to ensure seamless operations and fair business practices. On today's program, we bring you highlights from a key stakeholder meeting organized by Nigerian Shippers Council to address pressing concerns in the port industry. We'll also take you to the flag-off of the Lagos-Ibadan cargo rail movement at APM terminals, a significant step in boosting multimodal transport and easing road congestion. We'll be back after this short break.
For more than 5 decades, we have empowered and protected the interests of shippers in the nation's maritime industry. Our focus is to facilitate trade, regulate tariffs and rates, as well as handle shippers' complaints on cargo losses, damage and non-delivery. We offer dispute resolution mechanism for shipping and trade disputes between shippers and service providers. We are Nigerian Shippers Council, Nigeria's port economic regulator, your gateway to a thriving maritime sector. Nigerian Shippers Council will meet you at the port of your need.
You're watching The Shipper, Nigeria's flagship maritime program, proudly brought to you by Nigerian Shippers Council, the nation's port economic regulator. I am Abike Idowu. The success of Nigeria's maritime sector is predicated upon the drive for efficiency, collaboration, and modernization. Today, we bring you reports from industry engagements aimed at addressing critical operational challenges and improving service delivery at the ports. We'll also explore how strategic partnerships and infrastructure developments are shaping the future of trade facilitation in Nigeria. This report was compiled by Adeshina Abiodun and will be presented by Lucy Iyambi.
In a bid to address challenges, obstacles and other issues facing maritime stakeholders in carrying out their businesses in Nigerian ports, Nigerian Shippers Council, the nation's port economic regulator, reaffirmed its role as a mediator between industry players and regulators when the Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Shippers Council, Dr. Akuta Pius, MON, met with stakeholders to identify and address bottlenecks, inefficiencies and other challenges impacting effective service delivery. The move is to ensure that the sector remains competitive in the face of economic challenges. The meeting, which was held at the headquarters of Nigerian Shippers Council in Lagos, also had on the agenda promotion of fairness, transparency and accountability in the provision of port services. Other important issues raised during the meeting include the need for automation in port operations, container deposit refunds, objective decision-making, extortion on port access roads, and high freight rates. The event brought together representatives from various sector groups such as shipping companies, terminal operators, freight forwarders, consolidators, truckers, shippers associations, manufacturers associations, and government agencies. Speaking at the event, the Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the Council, Dr. Akuta Pius, MON, emphasized the need for collaborative effort, pointing out that the meeting is strategic to fostering collaboration among stakeholders in order to sanitize the maritime sector.
For us as the port economic regulator, we have a duty to be very transparent, to be very impartial, to ensure that we promote efficiency in the sector, promote competitiveness and fairness, and to also ensure that our economy moves in the right direction. It is the totality of our actions that will impact positively or negatively on the sector. So we have to come together, put our hands together. Where we are wrong, let us accept. Where we are right, let others also accept that we are right. And let us be very frank, because it will do us no good, destroy the sector.
The NSC boss told the meeting that Council is looking forward to subsequent engagements to promote business activities at the port.
We are calling on all of you to present your position papers. We have listened. We have heard so many experiences in the time past, and we know that most of these discussions that have been opened here are not new in the sector. It has been discussed over and over and over, like you have said. But I think that it is time for us to begin to take some steps towards reaching outcomes that will positively impact the sector.
Representing the Managing Director of the Nigerian Ports Authority (NPA), Dansho Abubakar, the General Manager in the MD's office, Mr. Adekunle Oladipo, commended Nigerian Shippers Council for fostering dialogue among industry stakeholders. He reaffirmed NPA's commitment to advancing the interests of all stakeholders and noted that the authority is developing strategic suggestions to further enhance trade facilitation.
The maritime industry in Nigeria is not in isolation of Nigeria. Nigeria is the big elephant, while the maritime industry is just part of the big elephant. And definitely, Nigerian policies affect both you and us at all times. And we, as part of government, continue to make our input and efforts to ensure that the services we render and the regulations we provide are optimal as much as possible within the available resources to us.
The President General, National Shippers Association of Nigeria, Dr. Innocent Akuvi, called on the stakeholders to come together to promote efficiency in Nigeria's ports.
When we see efficiency and you talk about increment in tariffs, I think it's more understandable. But I'm happy that this is just the opening discussion on this subject matter. All of us will go back and do a position paper and come back some other time. But it is important we get this started. And yes, God bless you for this. This is the kind of thing we want. If we're having things like this, nobody wouldn't be having problems. By the time the vessel arrives in Nigeria, you realize there are some statutory requirements you need before those goods could have been imported into Nigeria. These are the things that create problem. And then terminal operators, most times you don't work on weekends, and then demurrages are charged even on weekends when you don't work.
In a related development, the Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Shippers Council, Dr. Akuta Pius Mwen, was at the AP Mola Terminal APMT in Lagos for the flag-off of standard rail gauge movement of cargo from Lagos to Ibadan in Oyo State.
Today marks a very special day. You will recall that just sometimes last year, the Nigerian Shippers Council and indeed the Nigerian Railway Corporation signed a memorandum of understanding to look into the possibilities of developing the rail transport system to support trade. We at the Nigerian Shippers Council do understand that the rail transport happens to be the best form of transport, cheapest and safest for shippers to move goods across the country. And I want to thank especially the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for the initiatives that he has taken by supporting all agencies of government in this sector to work together seamlessly with the private sector to ensure that we develop critical infrastructures that are needed to promote trade activities in the country.
In an interview, Dr. Akuta described APMT as a leading investor considering the role it has played in developing transport infrastructure in the country.
Port corridor is congested because of influx of vehicles coming in. With this now, it's definitely going to reduce the influx of vehicles coming in as containers we move from the vessel to the rail platform and then taken to Ibadan. So that will reduce drastically the congestion in the port. You know that infrastructures of this nature needs to be enhanced over and over again. So I agree with you that it's a relaunch. So some of the bottlenecks that were there before now, some of them have actually been dealt with.
some of them will continue to deal with them as we go on. Even right now, on the vehicle coming back, I was discussing some of the issues with the MD on what we need to do to encourage even customers to have faith in this mode of transportation to begin to move their goods. And also, the Nigerian Customs Service, under the leadership, the current leadership now, is known for their proactive steps in correcting some of those bottlenecks.
The Managing Director, Nigerian Railway Corporation, Dr. Kayode Okpefa, lauded Nigerian Shippers Council for supporting rail projects in the country.
Under the new agenda of this government, rail is at a focal point. Trade is at a higher point. So it's not just the rail, it is the trade that is expected to come out of it. And that is why today we are complete. The railway is here, the port is here, the business sector are here, the customs are here, and we have agreed through that MOU that we're all going to work synergistically, if there's an English like that, to make sure this project is sustainable. Not only is it going to be sustainable, there are going to be multiplication of this initiative.
In an interview, he affirmed the corporation's commitment to ensuring a seamless and sustainable modern railway system. He emphasized that previous bottlenecks have been effectively addressed with robust systems and solutions now in place to maintain efficiency.
Let me assure Nigerians and you people in the press, what is needed is support. When there are issues, is to get the issue well reported and not negatively. As long as we do that, we will build confidence in the minds of clients. And when the confidence is built, all issues will be resolved. Whatever you have, there are people call bottlenecks, is mainly financials, costs. We're doing everything the government has put up every issue to make the enabling environment conducive. MPA has put up systems, AP Mola, and some other terminals are coming on board in the next 2 weeks. And then you have Shippers Council here, the regulator of most of the issues we are talking about. You also have customs who are here. So, but if an agency or government needs to do its job, it's not a bottleneck, it's just a process.
The Managing Director, Nigerian Ports Authority (NPA), who was represented by the Port Manager, Lagos Port, Mr. Adebowale Lawal, said that the rail engagement for the cargo movement will reduce pressure on roads.
What APNT is doing now, if you are moving some of these containers through the rail, I'm sure the pressure on the road will go down. That's one. So we need to really appreciate APMT for this initiative and Nigerian Railway Corporation, because without you, APMT will not be doing this. And I can assure you, MPA will do all it takes to assist that this does not fail.
The Chief Commercial Manager, AP Mola Terminals, Mrs. Caroline Adewi, said that the rail connectivity to hinterlands is APMT's strategy to promote efficiency and customer satisfaction.
When we first launched in 2023, we faced a major challenge. The rail schedule was unpredictable, often living on an as-need basis when the train was fully loaded. This lack of schedule certainty made it difficult for our customers to plan ahead. However, today marks a new era of efficiency and customer satisfaction. With our revamped service, you can now make informed decisions and reliable plans thanks to our fixed schedule. The train leaves the port 3 times a week, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, seamlessly transporting your imports to Moniya, Ibadan, and returning with empties or exports.
Nigerian Shippers Council will continue to effectively discharge its regulatory mandate, promote the interest of shippers, and contribute to the growth and development of Nigeria's maritime sector.
As stakeholders push for efficiency and improved service delivery at the ports, the federal government is at the forefront of driving major reforms at the national level. Up next, the Honorable Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, outlines key achievements and future plans for the sector. The federal government is making strategic moves to strengthen Nigeria's maritime sector, ensuring security, infrastructure development, and operational efficiency. At a luncheon with the League of Maritime Editors and Publishers in Lagos, the Honorable Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, highlighted key achievements recorded by the ministry and its agencies over the past year. Oyetola emphasized that Nigeria's territorial waters have remained secure, with the country recording 0 piracy incidents in the Gulf of Guinea for over a year.
I think part of the problem we have is the question of COC. They don't have a training vessel. So we may look at the possibility of making a case for a training vessel to be acquired for them to be able to satisfy, that examination and be on board of vessels. If you have our own shipping line, for instance, they won't have the problem that they're having. It's difficult to compel foreign vessels to take our seafarers. When they're coming to our shores, they come with their own seafarers, so it's difficult. So we need to ensure that we develop our own local shipping line to be able to ensure that we have opportunities for our seafarers. Again, the volume of ships coming to Nigeria is increasing, even though we don't have our own national carrier. So these are some of the things they look into. Again, we're lucky that we've been able to sustain the safety and security of our waters. We still, up to today, have a 0 incidence of piracy in our water. So with all of these, and with a lot of lobbying from other countries, I think we should be able to make it. I want to acknowledge the role of the Minister of Foreign Affairs in this regard. We're linking together, we are linking up with embassies to support us, and I think the response has been particularly very good.
He attributed this to improved maritime security measures and interagency collaboration.
Over the past year, the ministry has taken deliberate steps to strengthen the regulatory, legal, institutional, and policy frameworks for the management and development of the sector. The national policy on the marine and blue economy, which we have diligently crafted, has taken note of the need to leverage technology and private sector initiatives to boost the sector. I'm pleased to know that the draft policy is soon to be presented to the Federal Executive Council for approval.
The president of League of Maritime Editors, Mrs. Remi Itie, commended the ministry for the progress made while calling for more action on critical industry concerns such as indigenous shipping development, disbursement of the cabotage vessel finance fund, and improved synergy among maritime agencies.
It is important that the Honourable Minister help with the timely passage of the Council's amendment bill to promote Nigerian Shippers Council into a port regulator. The Council has also been unable to sufficiently assert its authority in pushing down the regime of high shipping tariff that has made our ports costliest in the sub-region. The Council must redefine its role in the IDP, such sectors to guarantee improved participation and services. The League of Maritime Editors is worried that the Council's role in cargo traffic note appears bogged down by politics, and we equally advise Your Excellency, sir, the Honorable Minister and his team to reflect on what should be done.
Meanwhile, the Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Dr. Dayo Muberiala, reaffirmed his agency's commitment to supporting policies that enhance maritime security, safety, and capacity development.
It's not that we are resting on not doing anything, but it is important we do what is right, because this floating dock has been lying there since 2019. So we need to know the status and ensure that the status is good enough to move forward before we present the report to the Honorable Minister, and then we decide the way to go forward.
With these strategic efforts, the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy is positioning Nigeria's maritime sector for sustainable growth, reinforcing its role in global trade and economic development. Next up, Tidbits with Idowu Ogungbemi.
Good day and welcome to the Tidbit segment of The Shipper. I am Idowu Ogungbemi, and we've got some interesting stories bringing you key insights and updates from the maritime industry. Let's dive right in. The Executive Secretary, Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Shippers Council, Dr. Akuta Pius Emohen has been honored with the prestigious Best Regulator Award of the year 2024. The award was presented at the Top 10 Magazine Man of the Year award ceremony held recently in Abuja. The Best Regulator Award recognizes Akuta's outstanding leadership and contributions to regulatory excellence in Nigeria's maritime sector. His efforts have significantly impacted the industry, promoting efficiency and growth. Speaking at the event, Akuta highlighted recent government reforms in the sector, particularly the transmission of the Council's mandate to Nigerian Port Economic Regulatory Agency as a key step towards growth.
For us at the Nigerian Shippers Council, we are looking at transmuting from the Shippers Council to the Port Economic Regulatory Agency, which is one of the things that has been missing since the reforms in that sector of 2006. And we are so happy that the National Assembly has graciously, the two chambers, passed that law, that be into law. And we are looking forward to Mr. President's assent. And once the sector becomes efficient, it will promote fair trading practices. It will promote competitiveness in the sector, competitiveness in benchmarking with other nations around West Africa and global benchmarking in terms of the maritime activities in Nigeria. And the maritime sector portends very huge benefits for this country. That sector alone can generate over $30 billion in a year if we actually develop it.
We encourage you to follow our social media pages at NG Shippers on Facebook, Instagram, X and YouTube for more of our latest updates, events and information. Let's turn to our complaint register for the week. Nigerian Shippers Council has received 5 ongoing complaints. These include issues with dubious importers, illegal extortion, delays in processing consignments, and overcharging on shipment. We urge our stakeholders to visit our website at www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng for more information or to lodge their concerns. Now, let's talk about the international maritime sector. The U.S. Federal Maritime Commission has cleared the Premier Alliance, a global shipping alliance between South Korea's HMM, Singapore's Ocean Network Express, and Taiwan Yangming Marine Transport Corporation for takeoff. According to the FMC, it will allow HMM, ONE, and Yangming to share vessels and routes in the trades across the Asia-Europe, Trans-Pacific, and Asia-Middle East main trade lanes. HMM representatives said that the Premier would be collaborating with the Swiss Colossal Mediterranean Shipping Company in the Asia-Europe trade. And that concludes this week's edition of Tidbit on the Shipper. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next week with more insights from the maritime world.
For more than 5 decades, we have empowered and protected the interests of shippers in the nation's maritime industry. Our focus is to facilitate trade, regulate tariffs and rates, as well as handle shippers' complaints on cargo losses, damage and non-delivery. We offer dispute resolution mechanism for shipping and trade disputes between shippers and service providers. We are Nigerian Shippers Council, Nigeria's port economic regulator, your gateway to a thriving maritime sector. Nigerian Shippers Council will meet you at the port of your need.
And this is where we drop anchor on today's episode of The Shipper. Thank you for watching. Remember to stay connected with us on our social media platforms at NG Shippers. Join us again next week for more insightful updates from the maritime world. Until then, sail safe and have a productive week ahead. Goodbye.